The older I got, the angrier my father seemed to become about my existence. And I don't think it was because I caused problems. It was because I stopped acting grateful for being ignored. He hated when I questioned things. Hated when I bought Emma stuff myself because it made the favoritism impossible to pretend wasn't happening. Once, when Emma was 10, I used money from the bakery to buy her a proper winter coat because hers barely zipped anymore. My dad saw it and immediately asked where I got the money. Not because he was proud I worked 2 jobs at 16, but because he was irritated I had spent it on her. She already has a jacket, he said flatly, and Emma quietly pulled the sleeves over her hands because the old one literally didn't reach her wrists anymore. I remember saying, "No, she doesn't." And the room went completely silent because in our house, correcting him was treated like disrespect no matter how obvious the truth was. My mom stood there drying dishes, listening, saying nothing like always, and then my father looked at me and said something I still remember word for word. "You're teaching her to expect too much." Too much. Like being warm in winter was some outrageous luxury. After that, things got worse in quieter ways. My dad started making comments about how I was turning Emma against the family, which was insane considering I was basically the only reason she still felt like she had one. Noah, meanwhile, worshipped our parents because why wouldn't he? To him, they were loving, attentive, supportive people. And honestly, I never blamed him for that. He was just a kid growing up in a completely different reality inside the exact same house. The problem was my parents started treating Emma less like a daughter and more like an inconvenience the older she got. Once she became old enough to notice the difference, they seemed almost annoyed by her sadness, like they resented being reminded of what they were doing. She stopped asking for things entirely around age 11. No toys, no school trips, no birthday parties. One year, she asked if we could just watch movies together for her birthday because she didn't want to make anyone spend money. 11 years old, apologizing for existing again. I worked extra shifts that month and secretly bought her a small cake and art supplies because she loved drawing. She cried harder over that cheap little sketchbook than most people cry at weddings, and I think that was the exact moment I realized how emotionally starved she actually was. Around that time, I started applying to colleges without telling my parents. Guidance counselors practically filled out my financial aid paperwork for me because everyone at school knew something was off even if nobody fully understood it. The plan was simple in my head. Get out first, build something stable, then come back for Emma. I didn't know exactly how yet, but every decision I made revolved around that idea. Then one night, I overheard my parents arguing after they thought we were asleep. My father said, "Once she leaves, maybe this house can finally calm down." And my mother, after a long silence, quietly asked, "What about Emma?" My dad laughed. Actually laughed. "She'll manage," he said. And hearing that did something terrifying to me because for the first time in my life, I realized he genuinely believed neglect was normal as long as it wasn't happening to the son he wanted.